Hello students, this is Balakrishnan. Welcome to BALAS Accountancy Special Classes. We are taking up a new chapter today. Accounting Standard 10, Property, Plant and Equipment. Please note that this is a vast chapter, hence it necessitates many episodes and this being part 1. Okay? Well, come on, let's start with the very objective of Accounting Standard 10.
The objective of the standard is to prescribe the account statement for property, plant, and equipment so that users of the financial statements can decide. അതായത് നമുക്കത് വിവേചിച്ച് എടുക്കാൻ പറ്റും information about investment made by an enterprise in its property, plant, and equipment and changes in such investment. Generally, property, plant, and equipment constitute a significant portion of the total assets of an entity. Hence, AS10 is important in the presentation of financial position. The standard discusses whether expenditure incurred should be capitalized as PPE or charged to P&L statement. Further, AS10 provides guidelines on the recognition, measurement, depreciation, impairment, and recognition of tangible fixed assets. Well, as far as intangible fixed assets is concerned, we have on standard 26. All an item as property, plant, and equipment, it has to fulfill the definition criteria. So let's examine the definition criteria. First of all, it should be tangible. It should be useful for any of these. That is, renting out, administrative purposes, producing goods, or rendering services. Well, administrative purposes is in a wider sense. Selling, distribution, accounting, finance, etc. And now, once it is tangible and is one among any of these, we should check whether expected life should be more than 12 months. That is one accounting period. Once this is done, it is property, plant and equipment. അപ്പോൾ നമ്മൾ ഡെഫിനിഷൻ പഠിച്ചു. ഇനി അടുത്തത് സ്കോപ്പ്. എന്താണ് സ്കോപ്പ് എന്ന് വെച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ഏതെല്ലാം PP AS10ന്റെ പെർവ്യൂവിൽ വരുന്നില്ല. ഓക്കെ, ബയോളജിക്കൽ അസറ്റ്സ്, വേസ്റ്റിംഗ് അസറ്റ്സ്, assets covered by other accounting standards. ഇത് നമുക്ക് ഓരോന്ന് വിശദീകരിച്ച് പഠിക്കാം. ബയോളജിക്കൽ അസറ്റ്സ് എന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ എന്താണ്? ലിവിങ് പ്ലാന്റും ആനിമലും. ഓക്കെ, അത് ജനറലി doesn't come within the scope of AS10, right? പക്ഷേ ഇവൻ ബയോളജിക്കൽ അസറ്റ്സിൽ ഒരു എക്സംഷൻ ഉണ്ട്. എക്സംഷൻ ടു എക്സംഷൻ. എന്താ അത്? ബെയറർ പ്ലാന്റ്സ്. എന്താ ഈ ബെയറർ പ്ലാന്റ്സ് എന്ന് വെച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാല് bearer plants are biological assets that meet the following criteria. എന്തെല്ലാം? Used in production or supply of agricultural produce. I repeat, used in the production or supply of agricultural produce. As to bear produce for more than 12 months and not intended to be sold as agricultural produce except for incidental scrap sales. Examples: apple trees used to grow apples, tea bushes used to harvest tea leaves, grapevines used to for producing grapes, rubber trees used to extract letters, coconut trees, mango trees, etc. Coconut tree നമുക്കൊന്ന് ബേസ് ചെയ്യാം. കോക്കനട്ട് ട്രീ നമ്മൾ എന്തിനാ നടക്കുന്നത്? വർഷങ്ങൾക്ക് ശേഷം അതിൽ നിന്ന് തേങ്ങ കിട്ടും. അത് ഒത്തിരി വർഷങ്ങൾ നമുക്ക് കിട്ടിക്കൊണ്ടേയിരിക്കും. മോർ ദാൻ 1 year, മെനി ഇയേഴ്സ്, അല്ലേ? അതുപോലെ ആ ട്രീ വിറ്റ് പൈസ ഉണ്ടാക്കുക എന്നുള്ളതാണ് ഉദ്ദേശിക്കുന്നത്. പ്രൊഡ്യൂസ് വിറ്റ്, തേങ്ങ വിറ്റ് കാശ് ഉണ്ടാക്കുക എന്നതാണ് നമ്മൾ ഉദ്ദേശിക്കുന്നത്. ഓഫ് കോഴ്സ് കുറെ വർഷങ്ങൾ കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ട് ആ ചില്ലി തേങ്ങ ചിലപ്പോൾ നമ്മൾ വിറ്റേക്കാം, കുറച്ച് പൈസ കിട്ടും. ഇതെല്ലാം വളരെ ഇൻസിഡന്റൽ തിങ്സ് ആണ്. ഇത് വിട്ട് കളയും. ഓക്കെ, പക്ഷെ മെയിൻ പർപ്പസ് എന്താ? അതിൽ പ്രൊഡ്യൂസ് ആണ്, ഇല്ലേ? So these plants themselves are not the end product. They are used continuously to produce crops over their useful life. Bearer plants are treated as property, plant and equipment and depreciated over their useful life, just like machinery or building. Okay, but bearer plants എന്താണെന്ന് ക്ലിയർ ആയിട്ട് മനസ്സിലായി. Next is wasting assets. What are all wasting assets? Wasting assets are natural resources or assets that deplete, exhaust or diminish in value over time due to extraction or usage. They're typically associated with resources-based industries like mining, oil, and gas or timber. They are called wasting assets because their economic value wastes away or reduces as the resources is extracted or used. മനസ്സിലായില്ലേ? Whereas machinery just wears out. Now, what are all the key characteristics of wasting assets? Basically, finite in quantity. It means they cannot be replenished once used. Next, it is subject to depreciation. These assets basically reduce in quantity and their potential to generate income declines over time. And it requires special accounting. Here, depletion is used instead of depreciation to allocate cost over time. So, wasting assets are subject to depreciation and no depreciation. These are not covered under AS10. In fact, there is no accounting standard for it. These are dealt under industry-specific accounting practices. I repeat, industry-specific accounting practices, often involving the depletion method. Now let us take the third item, assets covered by other accounting standards. Other accounting standards may require recognition of an item of PP based on an approach different from that in this standard. For example, AS19, leases require an enterprise to evaluate its recognition of an item of leased PPE on the basis of transfer of risk and rewards. However, in such cases, other aspects of accounting treatment for these assets, including depreciation, are prescribed by AS10 only. Similarly, investment property as defined in AS13. What is A13? Accounting for investments. Investment property under this standard should be accounted for only in accordance with the cost model prescribed in this standard. Okay. Again, assets which are taken for amalgamation, AS14 is applicable. In all these cases, AS10 will say, follow them. I don't know. Now let us learn recognizing PPE. Recognizing means recording. Well, you recognize or record something as PPE only if two conditions are met. First condition, future economic benefits. I repeat, future economic benefits. You expect the asset, like a machine or building, will help your business make money or save costs in the future. Condition number two, reliable measurement. Reliable measurement. You can find out the cost or price of the asset in a dependable and clear way. Let me give you an example. Taking these two conditions together. Suppose you buy a machine for your factory. Certainly, it will help you produce goods. That is a future economic benefit. And that is a condition number one. And now, say you have the invoice showing it cost rupees 5 lakhs. It's a reliable cost, a reliable measurement. That's a condition number two. So you can record it as PP in your books. Some more examples of reliable measurement. Suppose you signed a contract to build a building for rupees 10 lakhs. That contract amount is considered reliable. You bought second-hand equipment and the price matches current market value. This can be reliable cost if documented properly. Next, if you get a property for free or as a part of the deal, an expert values report can be used to find a reliable cost. Okay. Now, for imported document, customs duty documents and bills can help prove the cost. In certain cases, if you acquire an asset in exchange for another, you can use the fair value of the asset given up, provided that value is more clearly measurable. Well, now let us take up treatment of spare parts. In a nutshell, recognize spare parts as PPE if it satisfies the recognition criteria. That is, future economic benefits will flow and reliable measurement is possible. that we already learned. Is it? Otherwise, treat it as inventory as per AS2. However, to elaborate, spare parts should be capitalized or in other ways treated as PPE if they are expected to be used for more than 12 months. That is, they have a useful life of more than 1 year. And they are used in connection with a specific item of PPE. I repeat, and they are used in connection with a specific item of PPE, like a major machine or equipment. Or they are necessary for the functioning of the main asset and will be used when needed, standby or emergency use. For example, a company buys a large turbine and also purchases special blade costing a huge amount to be used only when the current one fails. This blade will last for 5 years and is essential to run the turbine. Therefore, the same will be treated as PPE, not as inventory. Now, spare parts should be treated as inventory or stock if they are used regularly for repairs and maintenance. Their useful life is less than 1 year and they're small in value or nature. Used frequently or replaced often. Example, nuts, bolts, filters, lubricants, etc. Used regularly in machines. They're inventory, not PPE. So once capitalized at PPE, depreciation must be charged over the useful life of the spare parts or over the remaining life of the main asset. I repeat, or over the remaining life of the main asset, whichever is shorter. Well, students, as I already mentioned, AS10 is a vast chapter covering several important aspects. In this video, we discuss the following topics of AS10. Number one, objective and how far AS10 covers in a brief way I have explained. Definition, scope, where AS10 doesn't apply, when to recognize, treatment of spare parts. That much only I have covered in this video. The remaining topics will be taken up in the upcoming videos. And these are initial recognition, subsequent cost, component accounting, measurement at balance sheet date, cost versus revaluation, revaluation of PPE, accounting treatment, frequency of revaluation, entire class only revaluation, what it means, exchange of PPE, depreciation and impairment loss, re-recognition, retirement, and disclosure. Okay? Well, stay consistent with your studies, and I'll see you in the next session. Take care of yourself. Bye for now.